Hello everybody, welcome back to the show. Well, in the last episode, the end of the last episode, I realized that there is a way to resummon the end dragon. Where I had been confused was that in the previous versions of Minecraft, there was no way of doing that in the Minecraft game itself, and so the Draconic Evolution mod had added a way to resummon the end dragon, and I was looking for that, and it doesn't exist anymore because in the new version of Minecraft game itself has a way of resummoning the end dragon. So I was a bit on the silly side with that, and the way to do it is with the end crystals. I showed that there at the end of the last episode. They look like this, and they're made like this. Requires a nether star, and you do have to have 4 of them. Place them in the end on that, to me it looks like a fountain almost, but on the edges of that fountain, and then there is this, pretty moderately okay looking graphical animation that reestablishes all of those regeneration points for the dragon. So you have to retake, you have to redestroy those, and then summons the dragon. And you can fight the dragon again. So I've done that. I've actually fought it a number of times and gathered a few dragon hearts, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. The sad thing is that resummoning the end dragon does not result in getting another dragon egg. So the first time I should say that you fight the end dragon is when you have a chance of getting the dragon egg. And as we saw in the last episode, I screwed up by trying to right click it, and it is gone. I have no idea where it teleported to. I looked around, it's not anywhere around, so it is gone. I really screwed that up pretty bad. Now I don't know why there's no platform or ground in the end like you would normally find. I don't know if the mod pack has made it that way, but yeah, I wasn't expecting that to happen. I wasn't expecting for the egg to just disappear, but it did, and there's nothing I can do about that. So that's that. I also want to say that I did manage to go out and do a little bit of exploring in the end, and I found one of the new end cities. I think they're called end cities with the shulkers, and it was pretty neat. I never encountered one before. It was my first time with one of those, so that was kind of fun. The shulkers were very annoying, causing you to, float up into the air and all that business, but ultimately they were pretty easy to kill and get rid of, and so it wasn't too much of a problem. Sometimes they would just take you by surprise because you wouldn't be expecting it, but it was pretty cool. It was pretty fun. I did raid the city and look through some of the chests and found a few things, but nothing really fabulous or great or anything like that, but a few neat things, so that was good. Okay, so let's go ahead and look in the quest book. Now, with the dragon heart allows, you can basically trade a dragon heart for a hive for the forestry bee, to get forestry bees, I should say. And I've done that with 4 dragon hearts. I've traded in 4 dragon hearts for 4 beehives. I got 2 of the forest hives and 2 of the meadow hives, and the reason I got those 2 is because I'm apparently in a roofed biome, or roofed forest biome, and so I figured the forest bees and the meadow bees would be the way to start as far as crossbreeding them. And you can see that's what I have been working on here. I've accomplished all of these tasks: making a bee house, apiary, the apiary's chests, making the first frames, making the portable analyzer, and then I got to the part where I needed to make royal jelly. Now, I will state that the reason that I started going down this quest line was because of this here, this idea of a wither star. And I can see that where this is leading me is to the ability to make, or to breed the bees to make wither bees and withering bees. So if we take a look at those real quick, the withering the withering bee has a small chance of producing wither skeleton skulls. That's obviously going to help with summoning the withers. And then the wither bee, that's the withering bee. The wither bee has a small chance to create a nether star fragment. And 4 of those with some lava actually gives you a nether star. So this is what I figured this quest was leading me down the way to be able to breed the bees to make those 2 bees, or to the final bee, and then that would be a better way of getting the nether stars than, essentially grinding out a whole bunch of bone meal, which has been, tedious and long at best. So that's why what started going down this quest line. The bad part is this quest here for royal jelly. The royal jelly comes from imperial bees, and it takes a lot of crossbreeding to get up to the imperial bees. It takes forever, and it's a very time-consuming and, quite frankly, a dull process. And the bad part is I couldn't do any of that until I killed the Ender Dragon. And because of that, I really haven't had anything else that I need to do. And so while I'm waiting for bees to breed, we'll go up here to the top level. Okay, so I've started doing, this is where I'm doing all my bee breeding, and here's all my bee machinery, etc., etc. While this is going on, I have just had to sit and watch it work, and it's been terrible. I spent the last week working on breeding these bees. I finally do have imperial bees. I've got 2 sets of them here, and as you can see, they've been making the royal jelly. The other 2 over here I worked on was getting industrious bees, and that's because the industrious bees make pollen. And the pollen is required to make these iodine capsules, and the iodine capsules are required to make the power modules for the Gendustry mod. And so there's the thing, the Gendustry mod is going to make it a lot easier to breed the bees, but it has been gated behind the ability to have these industrious bees. And so I've had to basically sit here and do nothing but bee breeding, and it's been terribly, terribly boring. If I had had the ability to have bees from the beginning of the game, I could have had them going and then checked on them once in a while I was working on other things. But because the bees are literally gated behind killing the End Dragon, and you have to accomplish all the other things before you can even fight the End Dragon, there's nothing left. So I don't really particularly care for this design and this method, simply because the breeding of bees up to industrious and imperial bees, even though it's not that far down the breeding file, but it's enough and it takes enough time, that's been ridiculous. As I said, I literally spent the last week doing nothing but watching these bees and trying to get them to breed to the proper things. And I finally got them to what I want them to be, but it's been terrible, and I really, really don't like it. But as I said, I do now have royal jelly, and I have enough royal jelly to finish off this quest. It gives me 2 free power modules, which is great, but you need a lot of power modules to make all the machinery for Gendustry anyway, so it's okay, we'll take what we can get. So let's go ahead and look at the next quest, which is to make the alveary. That's fine, will make those parts. That shouldn't be too terribly difficult. And the rain controller, the rain maker it says, and obviously it says you can clear the weather with that, but I don't know if I'll need that or not, because I usually just sleep away the rain when it happens. And it's interesting that there's a quest here to make an alveary when I won't be using it to make an alveary, because I'm just going to go ahead and straight to the Gendustry mod and use that, as it's a much simpler way of breeding the bees that I want anyway. Okay, that's all that I've done as far as quest-wise. I have not done this part of the quest line yet as far as the stuff in Draconic Evolution. And the reasoning for that was this awakened Draconic block. Oh, so pretty. I really hope Cam doesn't see this. He would not like how round it is. This, my friends, is the energy core from Draconic Evolution. I've made it into a tier 3 energy core, which, as you can see here, has a capacity of a little over 1.5 billion RF. You can see it currently has about a little over 1 billion RF. It tells you how full it is, and it's currently receiving power at a rate of about 5,000 RF per tick. That's how much I'm producing, which really isn't very much, all things considered. Pretty neat little thing. Kind of expensive to build, but probably worth it. I would have probably liked to have made a tier 4 energy core, but I just didn't have the materials to do it at the time. So there you go. Now, 1.5 billion RF probably seems like a lot of RF, but it's really not. When you look at something like this recipe to make the awakened draconium blocks, this recipe requires 350 million RF. Yes, 350 million RF. The low-end items, or the low-end crafting with the fusion crafter is, pretty simple. So if you look at this to turn basic fusion crafting injectors into Wyvern fusion crafting injectors, it only requires 256,000 RF. But if you want to make the Draconic fusion crafting injectors, then you're looking at 1.8 million RF. And if you want to make the Chaotic fusion crafting injector, you're looking at 48 million RF. And if you look at some of these other recipes in here, you will see that some recipes are in, look, there's one, 800 million RF. Wow, that's a lot. And again, I'm only making about 5,000 RF per tick. I'm not really even making that much power. As you can see here, since it turned out that I obviously was going to need a lot of draconium, I made a few more draconium chickens. So there you go. Draconium chickens producing whatever draconium it can for me. So hopefully that is a good idea. Another thing that I've done is created a telepad. This is from the Ender.io mod, and this will take me, I have this set up to take me to the end. As you can see here, I'm at the end, and over there is where I would fight the dragon. And I can use this to get back. So it's just an easier way to get back and forth to kill the dragon. And that's all the updates that I have. That's everything that's been going on up to this point. As I said, I spent a week breeding bees, and I want to complete all the quests anyway, so I was going to have to do it anyway, but I don't want to harp on it too much, but man, the basic bee breeding in forestry is just terribly, terribly boring. It's not so bad if you can kind of do it in the background while you're doing other stuff, but having it be at the end of the game where there's really nothing else to do, again, I shouldn't go on too much about it. So, but I really just want to make this video kind of give you an update of what's going on. It's getting closer and closer, I can tell, to finishing the mod pack. Maybe 1 or 2 more episodes, depending on what I find that may or may not be of interest. So, yes, that's going to do it for this episode. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them for me in the comment section down below. As always, I thank you so very, very much for joining me, and I will see you next time.